Hello, welcome to this weird YA video. Welcome to the first weird YA video. The first in what I hope will be a series of videos that look at the weirder side of YA fiction, with a little bit of middle grade thrown in there too. This first video is going to be looking at magic realism in YA, but actually a very specific kind of magic realism. The kind of magic realism where a young person is going through some kind of emotional distress, some kind of difficulty in their everyday life, and they start seeing a creature or a monster or an animal or something which in some way kind of guides them through that hard time, helps them get through it. But despite being able to see that animal or creature or whatever in real life, sometimes even speak to it, it remains unclear for the course of the book whether or not that creature or animal is actually real, or whether it's a figment of the young person's imagination. Isn't that right, Monsieur Waffles?
Oh yes, quite right, my boy.
I love you, Monsieur Waffles.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, I'm just talking to... Oh! If you'll allow me an incredibly self-indulgent example, my debut novel, Panther, follows this formula fairly closely. It's about a teenage boy called Derek whose sister is struggling quite badly with depression, and as he's trying to kind of cope with the situation, he believes that he sees a panther roaming in the allotments behind his house in a southeast London suburb. And by trying to catch this panther, by speaking to this panther, it to some extent helps him through this very, very difficult time, helps him understand what's going on. But it's never clear in the book whether or not the panther is real and actually roaming his allotment, or whether it's a figment of the boy's imagination. Isn't that right, formerly respected actor Nicolas Cage? I'm going to look at a few examples of my favourite books that do this particularly well in a second, but first let's establish some criteria. Hey! Talking monster, creature, animal, hidden away in an attic, tree, bottom of the garden type scenario. Somebody is dying, might die, or suffering from extreme emotional distress. There is always one friend, grandparent, or mysterious old person who can also see the mysterious creature or animal at hand. Magical creature may, or may not, exist.
You mean to say I don't exist?
I don't make the rules, I'm just reading them.
But if I think, therefore I must be I am. I have seen the sun rise over the Arctic. I have seen rail replacement buses on fire off the shoulder of Basingstoke. I have...
The ending of these books will invariably destroy your soul. It's a book.
That's all you have to do!
The book that you could consider the granddaddy of this magical realism subgenre is Skellig by David Allman, which was published in 1998. It's a story about Michael, who has recently moved into a new house with his family, and around the same time his baby sister has been born prematurely and has a very, very weak heart, and it's very touch and go whether or not she's going to survive. And in the garage of this new house, Michael finds Skellig, a seemingly homeless man who Michael comes to believe might be an angel and might be able to play a crucial role in saving his baby sister. The story never makes it 100% clear exactly what Skellig is, or whether or not he's even completely real. He seems to be some kind of hybrid owl, homeless, angel man. But anyway, it's not really the point. The point is that it's a really great story about hope and joy and family, which mercifully has a happy ending which won't completely destroy your soul. If you do want a book that will destroy your soul just a little bit, second on this list is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, illustrated by Jim Kay. This is a beautiful story adapted from an idea by the late Siobhan Dowd about a boy called Connor whose mother is dying of cancer. And it's, again, to some extent, Connor trying to deal with this and trying to find the truth of this situation and how he feels about this situation. And around this time, a sort of tree monster comes to him, and it's trying to help him get to his truth, and it does this by telling him a series of sort of mystical stories. Through these stories, through interacting with this monster, Connor is able to get to the truth of his emotions and how he's feeling about this whole situation. And it all culminates in an incredibly sad but also incredibly beautiful and honest ending as his mother unfortunately comes to the end of her illness. Next on this list is Erin by Simon P. Clarke. Now, full disclosure, Simon and I share a publisher, Atom Books, and also he's an incredibly nice man who smells beautiful. Erin is heavily influenced by David Allman's Skellig. It's the story of a boy called Ollie who is whisked away to live with family away from London in the countryside, and he's not told why. He just knows something really bad has happened within his family, but none of the adults will tell him what the hell is going on. In the attic of this new house, he finds a creature called Erin, which, as the book describes him, is part monster, part dream, and part myth. And Erin needs stories to stay alive. And over time, Erin's influence over Ollie grows, and he gets Ollie to come and listen to stories and tell him stories. Ollie becomes dangerously entwined with this creature whose intentions we really can't be sure are pure. This is a really beautiful book that's really quite dark too, and it's about the mistakes that children make, and also the incredible, dangerous power that stories have in terms of keeping stories and sharing stories and how we share those stories, and the power of our histories over us, the power of our personal stories in how they shape our present and our future. I think this is a really interesting take on this subgenre. Fourth on this list is something a little bit different to the others mentioned so far. It's Winged Jones by Catherine Webber. This is different to the other books on the list because it's a little more typically YA in terms of it being focused on a very contemporary character and romance and family, and just told in a way different to the other books we've mentioned so far. But the reason that it's on this list is because it does tick one or two of those criteria that I mentioned previously. It's about the title character, Winged Jones, who, when a terrible tragedy befalls her family, she finds a talent for running and believes that running and her incredible natural ability to do so could to some extent save her family and help them through this terrible situation. The reason that it's on this list is because it does have very slight elements of magical realism. Winged Jones, from a very young age, begins to see two seemingly invisible to other people creatures. She sees both a dragon and a lion who appear at crucial moments in her life to support her and help her through these difficult moments. And it's very clear that these are kind of imaginary to some extent, insofar as other people can't see them, but they're very real to her, and they have an incredible power in her life to help her through these difficult moments. So while that element of the story is nowhere near as pronounced as the other books on this list, it felt like a really interesting example to include, and also it's a great book. Last on this list is Stonebird by Mike Revell. Stonebird is the story of Liam, who has moved to a new house and is struggling because his grandmother is quite unwell, and his mother seems to be struggling with an unhappiness, depression, whatever it might be. Things are going quite badly for Liam, basically. Around this time, Liam discovers a stone gargoyle in the church behind his new house, Stonebird, and he discovers that when he tells stories at school, the Stonebird seems to make these stories real. Liam comes to believe that this gargoyle could be the answer to fixing his family, to making his grandmother well again, and to helping his mother get through whatever it is she's going through. All he needs to do is tell the right story. So it's a book that's got lots of similar elements to the other books we've looked at so far, but it's just an incredibly well told story with really great characters and really great ideas who you really care about. And the idea of this Stonebird is a really, really compelling one. And again, it's just a brilliant book. That's the end of this video about magical realist YA books. I don't really know how you're supposed to end these videos. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll go and check out some of these books. If you don't care about magical realism in YA, then I don't know why you watched this video. So I guess I'll just say bye, bye, bye.